Hello, 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 and welcome to the Good Vibes Lifestyle live stream happening every Thursday at 4 o'clock now instead of 3 o'clock, but you can watch the replay at any time. Now, I want to wish you a happy fall equinox because just 3 days ago on September 22nd, we had our fall equinox. So I am streaming to Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn and YouTube, and you can comment from wherever you're watching. So please comment because I love to interact with you and hear your opinions and answer any questions that you may have. So let us now get into the astrology of the day. So, what is going on with the sun and the moon and all the celestial bodies? Well, we're going to talk simply about the waxing phase of the moon. So that's where we go from the new moon, which happened to actually be a solar eclipse as well as a new moon, and that was on the 22nd of September. So that was in the sign of Virgo, and that was that's our new beginning of the new lunar cycle, and it will grow, and the moon will grow and grow and grow until we get to the super full moon. It's actually it's a super full moon or a full super moon. You can say it either way on October 6th. So you may want to mark your calendars for October 6th because that's when we have a super moon in the sign of Aries. So that moon will also be known as the harvest moon because this is the month where we're, I guess, finishing up our harvest of our gardens. And the other thing to note is that the sun went into the sign of Libra on the 22nd, which was the same as the fall equinox when the fall equinox started. So Libra, the sign of Libra, as you can see there's the little balance signs, the balance, the scales. So Libra has to do with balance and harmony, diplomacy. Libras are very charming and they have a lot of social grace. They're into fairness and justice and beauty. Also, Libras are very much relationship oriented. Relationships are very important to them. They love to cooperate, and they're very elegant as well. So, knowing that the sun now is in the sign of Libra, which is that sign of balance and harmony, kind of makes perfect sense with the fall equinox also starting on September 22nd. And it always happens on either the 21st or 22nd. So we had the fall equinox. It was actually on at 2:19 p.m. Eastern time on the 22nd, which is just 3 days ago on Monday. And I want to talk a little bit about what the equinox is all about and, why it's important for us to be in tune with the cycles of nature. Because when we're in tune with those cycles, just life flows easier. We're kind of going with the current of life as opposed to against it. So once we know these cycles, these lunar cycles every 30 days, from the new moon to the full moon and then back to the new moon, right? It's a building up period till we get to the full moon, and then a waning period after the full moon of integration and harvest. So we have those cycles on a monthly scale or on a monthly level. Then we have the annual cycle of the spring equinox, which is the very beginning of spring, and then we have the summer solstice. And then we have the fall equinox. And again, the equinoxes have to do with equal balance, equal day and equal night. So we have about the same amount of daylight as we do nighttime during the spring and during the fall. So that's why this is a time of balance. So it's a great time to get get things in order, especially that we're now in this kind of balancing cycle. And we just came from the sun being in Virgo, which has to do with practical organization and things like that. So we've been working on this for the last few weeks. So balance has to do, like I said, with day and night being equal during the spring and the fall time. And it's a moment of harmony between the light and the dark. The other thing about the autumn equinox is that it's a transition or threshold time, right? This just doesn't happen in one day that we're in fall right away. It's a season, so that's why, yes, it's great to do things exactly on the new moon or the full moon or even the equinoxes or the solstices, but you have a grace period of anywhere from 5 days, 2 to 3 days before or after, I'll say a full moon or new moon, but also this, seasonally we are in a season of the fall that we're starting, so we want to gradually transition into this, but this is our balance point here during the fall equinox. So transition and threshold, we're moving from the growth and the brightness and the outward energy of the summer into the inward, darker, quieter season of the fall and the winter. So we're making this transition from, this a lot of activity to less activity and kind of going within. The other thing that this fall equinox is great to trigger the harvest and gratitude. So this is when we're reaping what we have grown, right? In the cycle, say from the spring, the things that seeds that we planted back in the spring earlier this year, or even the ideas of what we planted back in January for the year. We're reaping those seeds that we've sown. And it's also a great time to give thanks for the abundance, that we have, and acknowledging that, and acknowledging also whatever has matured, because each season we see maybe more growth. Um, and so let's see. The other great thing to think about during this fall equinox is uh, is the concept of releasing and preparation. So we want to let go of what no longer serves us, right? And create space for the rest, for regeneration, and for deeper reflection. So I've been talking about clearing out the clutter and letting go of things and making space for the new as we enter this fall season. So this is, really a time of rest. And that's what I'm actually doing right now. We're in Kitty Hawk, North Carolina on the beach. And yeah, we're doing that rest and regeneration part. And the other thing about the fall equinox, it's a great time to remember connection to nature and the cycles of nature. So we want to honor the shifting rhythms of the earth and, kind of tune into the wheel of the year, which a lot of pagans and witches like to, follow, the different cycles, which includes the full moons, which includes the equinoxes and the solstices, because this is where the wheel turns. And when we connect during these times, we kind of connect and plug into the cycles of nature, which makes, as we're connected to those cycles, we move easier, or things flow better. So, that's the whole reason for following these things. All right. Okay, so that's all I've got for the fall equinox. So let's get into a little bit of UFO and UAP disclosure. So we had those public hearings on September 9th. And so there's been a lot, going on. A lot of the podcasts and all are kind of processing all the information, all the witnesses' testimony that was given at the public hearings. Dylan Borland was one of the whistleblowers that testified that day. And he's actually, there's a great interview with him on Weaponized, the podcast that Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp do. So just check that out on YouTube. Just look for Weaponized and you'll see Dylan Borland. And that's a nice long interview where you can learn a lot more about what he was talking about, because he talks a lot more freely during this interview with Jeremy Corbell and George. So check that out. Again, Borland interviewed on the Weaponized podcast. The other bit of news is I found from Dr. Greer and also the writer Dick Russell some information at the Boogosphere. The Boogosphere, they've been doing some tests, and they just this week released the fact that they did some carbon dating tests, and they are saying that the Boogosphere, which is that metal sphere that they got from Buga, Colombia, and they've been doing testing, and it's not been taken by any of the governments. It's under the control of the citizenry. They found that it's 12,560 years old, give or plus or minus 30 years. So that's how old they're saying that the Boogosphere is, and they're still doing more tests. So, yeah, that's all that's happened since last week as far as UAP and UFO disclosure. In a couple of weeks, I'll be recording, or actually doing live, another episode of the Disclosure Dialogues, where I have several of the Citizens for Disclosure state leaders communicate with me, or dialogue with me, just talk about different issues and aspects of this UFO and UAP disclosure. So that's going to be coming up in a couple of weeks, probably the first Wednesday of October. It could be the second Wednesday of October. So if you want to see the last episode that we did, which was all about the public hearings, just go to this tiny URL on the screen, tinyurl.com/disclosure dialogue 2 with the first D capitalized. All right. And speaking of Citizens for Disclosure, if you want to become a volunteer, all you have to do is go to newparadigminstitute.org, and you can go there, sign up for their newsletter, and you'll be plugged into what's happening as far as the New Paradigm's efforts in working with Congress and getting them to pass the UAP Disclosure Act and also Whistleblower Act. So we're very active in the back end here, making phone calls, sending emails, organizing, educating. And yeah, it's really a great thing, because there's only going to be more and more of this coming as, we get closer to disclosure. Okay, so, and I will be interviewing some people that are actual experiencers. That'll be happening in a couple of weeks, and I will let you know when those will be ready. All right, so it is time now for the Oracle of the Month. You know that this month of September, we've been working with Sonia Choquette's deck, the Trust Your Vibes Oracle. And I've really enjoyed this deck. It's been very on point, and I wouldn't expect anything less from Sonia Choquette. She is just so good. So let me go ahead and shift my view here so you can actually see the cards. There we go. So this is Trust Your Vibe. So let's ask Spirit for a message for us at this particular time, for whoever's watching live and whoever is going to watch the replay. So what do we need to know right now for our highest and best good? Oh, I love this card. I picked this card the other day. This is so cool. Good vibrations. So perfect, right? For Good Vibes TV or Good Vibes Lifestyle live stream. So good vibrations is the message we got, and that is 44. All right, so let me read you the message. Pay close attention to what you are listening to. This activates the intuitive skill of clairaudience, the ability to tune into the subtle energy in life, including your higher self, angels, and guides. With this intuitive awakening, however, comes more responsibility. Be selective in what you listen to. Exposure to dissonant, negative, toxic vibrations and people will drain and agitate you. This type of energy overwhelms the nervous system, putting you at risk of becoming sick and depressed. To protect your spirit, surround yourself with the most harmonious sounds, people, and energetic vibrations possible, and communicate love, compassion, humor, acceptance, and forgiveness yourself. Step away from soul disturbing noise the moment you hear it. Turn off violent TV programs and negative talk radio. Refuse to gossip or engage in harsh or critical conversations with anyone, including yourself. Your spirit is sensitive and is affected by what you hear more than you realize. Immerse yourself in loving energy, and your intuitive skills of clairaudience will greatly increase. Listen closely. So I love that. Good vibrations. Yeah, it is really so important, again, what we feed ourselves, what we're listening to, and just as we have our five senses, those also happen on the intuitive energetic level. So, clear audience is, hearing things from the spiritual level or astral plane, seeing things as clairvisual, clairvoyant. Claircognizant is just knowing something. What are the other clairs? Clair. I don't know what the ones would be for taste, but smelling, clairaudient, auditory, olfactory, or something like that. So all of our five senses have that. We can sense on a energetic level as well, a spiritual level. So good vibrations. I'm so thrilled that we ended up with that card for the month because love Sonia Choquette. She is just so awesome. All right. So, what else are we going to talk about right now? Let's talk about the Food Revolution Summit. I hope you get to watch some of those. Oh, I see I have a comment. Nefertiti is saying, happy belated autumn equinox. Hi, Nefertiti. So great that you're here, and thank you for the comments. Nefertiti is our Ikibanist. She does Ikebana, which is the use of flower arrangings, and she does it specifically for changing our neurosystem, our neurology. I'm trying to get the right words. So let's talk about the Food Revolution Summit. Now, it's actually over. But I want to let you know there's a replay this weekend. So actually, if you missed any of these, I think there were 7 or 8 episodes, you can actually go to this tiny URL / GVTV FRN Summit, and you'll get access to all 8 episodes. They have like 45 different speakers, and it's really a great little documentary series that talks all about, the positive benefits for eating healthy, whole food, plant-based diet, and it's something that has relieved so many illnesses for people. And so, anyway, I'm just starting tomorrow on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You can watch any of the replays, so please take advantage of that. And Nefertiti is saying much love from Boston because that's where her home base is. So yes, much love to you, Nefertiti. I'm hailing from Kitty Hawk, North Carolina currently. We are traveling in our RV, doing our thing, living our best life. So let's talk about longevity with light. We have our next episode will be happening on October 9th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And we're going to be talking about the dynamic duo of patches, which is the X39 patch that activates stem cells, and also the Eon patches, which actually reduces inflammation. And the combination of the two of them you end up with amazing results. So we have an acupuncturist, Dr. Holly. I'm not sure how to say her name yet because I haven't met her yet. Rabi or Rabe. She is a natural health expert and also an acupuncturist, and she's going to be talking about the dynamic duo of X39 and Eon. So if you want to sign up for this free webinar, it's 30 minutes long, and just go to this tinyurl.com / longevity OAC 2025, and the L and the O for October are capitalized. So go ahead and sign up, and I'll be hosting that with my friends Tamisa Leiden and also Beth Steele. All right. Yes. And Nefertiti is saying Halloween season is just around the corner. Absolutely. I had to get my costume. Rick and I are both going to be pumpkins. I got a pumpkin mask that we got. Oh, so I'm looking forward to that because I love Halloween, of course. All right. And so, also with the longevity with light, we have recorded several episodes, like 8 different episodes already. Just go to this longevity playlist. You can check them all out. All really great information. All right, my friends. So, let's take that off the screen. And the last thing I have is the tip of the week. And so the tip of the week, every week I have a tip to raise your vibration. So this week's or last week's tip of the week was to participate in the International Day of Peace, which was September 21st. Let me know if you did that. It's something that happens every year that the UN put out and actually picked the state of September 21st. So, did you participate in anything? I did do a meditation online with some people, and it was very peaceful, right? So I just feel like every time I do that, I'm helping the collective to raise the vibration. And peace is one of the highest vibrations that we can experience. So, this week's tip of the week kind of relates to what I'm doing is to practice beach therapy. And I actually have some notes here about why it's actually so good for you and how it raises your vibration. And what I mean by this is just sitting on the beach and watching the waves and hearing the seagulls and hearing the wind and the waves and tasting the salt air and smelling the salty brine, being on the beach, just like the Japanese like to do forest bathing, where you're getting the energy and the ions and stuff, negative ions from the forest, you can do the same at the beach. And I think we all intuitively know this. By going to the beach, it's so healthy for us and so restful and rejuvenating. And mentally and emotionally, it reduces stress and anxiety and promotes calmness by just sitting on the beach, listening to the ocean. It improves our mood and our mental clarity, and it supports mindfulness and presence. This is what some are calling the blue mind effect. When we're near water, we get this calmness that overcomes us. Physically, smelling the salt air can help clear respiratory passages, so that's really great. And the natural sunlight supports vitamin D production. We get so much from the light of the sun, more than even we know. I mean, we know about vitamin D, but there's other types of energies that we get and life force energy that we get from the sun. So gentle exposure to sea breeze and sound can lower heart rate and blood pressure. And we were just talking about in this good vibrations card that we got how what we listen to is so important. And by listening to the constant, waves of the ocean pounding, that just helps us lower our blood pressure and just feel calmer. So overall, hanging out at the beach, it enhances our sense of connection to nature and well-being, and it could actually improve our sleep because of this relaxation and the natural light exposure. So I'm actually sure that there are many other benefits to sitting there and taking. Oh, the other thing is the negative ions that come out from the waves crashing, and that you get that salt air and those negative ions, which we don't have enough of that. We have the positive ions in our body too much, and we need those negative ions to kind of balance things out. Again, concept of balance. So, if you're able to go to the beach, or when you do know, or when as you're planning to go to on vacation or wherever, realize that being by water like that is so healing and rejuvenating. So that is my tip of the week to raise our vibration. All right, my friends. So I don't see any other comments. I want to thank you for watching today. And I want to thank you, for just being a good person and, holding the vibration in the space of higher vibrations when so much around us is so negative and violent and traumatic. It's important for light workers to hold light. Sometimes, to hold the vibration of light and love and really hold that space and not get sucked into the negative drama that we see all around us when we're looking at, social media and different things online. So it is very important for us to pay attention to what we see and what we hear. And that's one of the things that was promoted today. All right, my friends, I want to thank you again for watching and have a wonderful weekend. And I will see you next week. Peace out, everyone.